Hey there, welcome to Searching for Service. Do not adjust your dials. It is Joe as host today. So, thanks for coming. We've got great guests today that I'm really excited to introduce you to. And just as a reminder, we are presented to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. Kyle, are you excited to be back?
I'm back. I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh, man, we got Kyle Haugen back from Prior Lake Rotary Club. He's got 27 different titles that I could go into, but today we're going to be speaking about, we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but you guys just got back from a trip in Uganda and Kenya that we'll get into. But before we get into anything, I do want to remind our listeners our purpose of this show. And the purpose of Searching for Service is to activate current Rotarians and really push people out there that are non-Rotarians to serve their communities.
There you go.
And what we believe is that Rotary is the best vehicle for serving our communities. There's many of them out there, but this show is really dedicated to having amazing guests on that tell us great stories and really highlight compelling projects that we work on. So that's what we're all about here.
Absolutely. And you guys do a good job at it.
Oh, thank you. And it's just me today.
I know.
I feel lonely. I feel lonely.
I'm disappointed, seeing as though, I guess the last time I was here was the show before Kelly gave birth to your daughter.
That's right.
And since then, Chad has come aboard as well, and neither of them are here, and they're the two that I actually would want to say hi to. So it's whatever.
It's so funny. And Kyle, if you don't mind introducing our third person on the show today, it's Shafi.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd let you introduce him.
I brought along, as we're talking about all things, Prior Lake Rotary travel to Africa and a little bit about the Music Fest as well. Shafi Kenyare, who is one of our newer club members, joined me in Africa. So great to get his insights there as well. And also, it was his first time going through the Music Fest. So, again, great to get some fun experiences there. So, Shafi's joining us remotely today. But yeah, Shafi's awesome.
Shafi, thanks for joining us, bud.
Thank you guys so much. It's a great opportunity to, be involved with this programming. And it was a really joyful and eye-opening trip that I went with Kyle. And before that, I did not know how long I would stay in Rotary Club at Prior Lake, but now my life has changed. So I can only say thank you to the Rotary Club of Prior Lake.
Wow. Well, let's get into that a little bit. So how long ago did you join? About
a little bit. I would say 9 months. It's heading to a year now.
Okay, so you're just a little baby.
I'm a little baby. I did transfer for the Burnsville Rotary Club. And I really enjoyed this club. A really vibrant club, and I feel like I'm home. I grew up in Mankato, and I never felt like Prior Lake is a home to me now. So,
well, that's awesome. And then you decided to tackle an international trip within your first year. That's pretty impressive as well.
I did join a couple of committees while I was in the Rotary Club, and one of them was with Kyle with the International Committee, and I'm planning to take more lead in that. And I was like, I got the opportunity to go to Africa, and I haven't been in a while, and I thought it was a good place to represent Prior Lake Rotary Club. So
that's awesome.
And Shafi, do you want to give a little bit of your background on the both the Africa part and the refugee part as well, because I think that certainly created about 7 extra dimensions within the trip too.
Yes. So for me, the biggest thing was I am the only African in the Prior Lake community, like Prior Lake Club, but to go there as a refugee representing our club was huge for me, and some of the areas that we focus on, water, hygiene, and all those things, like I experienced that firsthand growing up in Africa as a refugee coming to the United States. So from my experience, it was just it was mind blowing, and
So
it's a life changing.
So you really went full circle. Like you left.
Correct.
You substantiated yourself here, and then you went back and were able to serve the very communities that were just like the ones that you left. That's pretty amazing story, and I'm excited to get more into that in one of our next segments here. But I do have to pivot gears really quick. Kyle and I were talking a little bit before the show, and he had just mentioned that he's 24 hours into the Prior Lake Rotary Club's foreign exchange student from Spain, and he was just sharing the experience of welcoming this student.
Yeah. We have a young man, Carlos Martinez Gonzalez, who's a 15-year-old from northern Spain, and we have a 5-year-old and almost an 8-year-old that both, well, our 5-year-old's going to kindergarten this year, but they go to the Spanish immersion school in Prior Lake, so I figured it was a good time for us to be a host family, and so we picked him up at the airport yesterday afternoon and brought him home, and so we are for the first time as host parents. I've done it 3 times growing up with my parents, where I was a host sibling, but this is a new experience now that all of a sudden we have a 15-year-old boy in our house, and it was not to make any light of it whatsoever because I'm excited, but it's last week we were driving through the neighborhood and my wife pointed out that one of our neighbors just got a dog. And she kind of wants a dog. I don't want a dog because I know who's going to be responsible for said dog. Right. And I said, we're skipping the spaniel. We're getting a Spaniard instead. And so thank you for laughing because she didn't think it was funny. Everybody else has so far. But no, Carlos is going to be a great addition to the family and awesome. Really nice kid. He's very excited this afternoon. He's a big Real Madrid soccer fan, and they play at 2:30, and I showed him that we do have that channel.
Oh, good.
So he's very excited for he and my son to watch that match this afternoon. So,
well, that's great. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to bring that up just because youth exchange has been such a huge component
Absolutely.
Of this show. It seems like it's that thread that really seems to connect a lot of the guests together, and it sounds like it's a rite of passage for most.
A little bit.
It's kind of like working at Target in Minnesota. You got to do it.
And one of the foreign exchange students we had when I was growing up, when I was a freshman in high school, I still consider her my fake sister. I'm 45 years old now, and they're the English wing of our family. And, hopefully over spring break next year, we're going to take the kids over to see them. And she's my sister that I never had, and the daughter my parents never had until at least my brother and I got married. But those relationships are lifelong and teach you all about cultural understanding and how the world isn't as big as it may seem.
Yeah. And how many youth exchange students did Prior Lake do this year?
We just have one.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we're not crazy like Northfield and do 7 or 8 or 10
right?
or 12. We'll just do one and call it good. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. I remember having that. Who's the guest that talked about Northfield and Rotary Exchange? And
I don't.
But
remember either.
Literally, we're like 7 or 8 at a time. I'm like, that coordination effort's pretty incredible.
That is. Shafi, you want to take that up and coordinate 7 or 8 inbound exchange students for Prior Lake?
I would. One day I will. I have 2 kids under 2 at this moment.
No, I love the reaction. You're like, I want to say yes, but he's like, that sounds. Oh my god,
Joe, he's in the same boat as you.
One day, Kyle.
Yeah, Shafi.
One day, Kyle. But right now, Kyle knows I have 2 under 2. So
yeah,
my house is.
And remind me, when was your youngest daughter born?
February 20th.
Okay, so
just
before yours, Joe.
You're in similar weed territory as Kelly and I. We have a 5-month-old right now. So, and then also a 6 and an 8-year-old. So we get that joy too. Actually, it's fabulous. I don't know.
We'll move off the Rotary subjects and we'll just talk about 3 dads of kids that are 8 and under here, and just go, okay, here's life.
I think just to kind of wrap up this segment, we got a couple minutes left. Shafi, why don't you go ahead and share what your favorite experience so far in your Prior Lake Rotary experience? What's your favorite?
I hope he's still there.
I hope he's still there, yeah.
He might not be.
Well, what's your favorite?
Oh, what's my favorite experience?
What's your favorite for him?
To watch him interact with a lot of the refugees in Naka Valley Refugee Settlement, and be able to go up to a group and just say, "I'm one of you." Mm-hmm. Where he was, he and his brothers and sisters were born in Somalia and then fled to a refugee camp in Kenya, and then came to Mankato, which I'll have to brag for Shafi. It's pretty cool. I think I have this right, that he is one of 12, and all of them have college degrees from Mankato State.
Wow, that's incredible.
Which is, nobody in a family of 12 has 12 college degrees. Maybe one of them has 12 degrees, but it's pretty cool from that standpoint. But for him to have those conversations was really neat to see from my perspective.
I agree. I think that's amazing. Shafi, good to have you back, bud.
Thank you. I'm having a lot of connection problems. I'm sorry, fellas.
No worries.
All good.
We'll just roll with it. But we're going to roll out of this segment. And just as a reminder, you're listening to Searching for Service, and I'm Joe Kirk. And with me is
Kyle Haugen. Oh, am I like kind of second chair today?
Second chair today. And you're listening to Searching for Service. We'll be right back.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Exciting news for Minnesota Rotarians. A Rotary International site review team is visiting the Twin Cities for 3 days. That's because we're under consideration to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention. So let's unite and showcase the spirit of Minnesota and our Rotary enthusiasm on Wednesday, September 27th at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. It's got the best views of Minneapolis bridges and the skyline. There will be hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and live music from one of our own, St. Paul Peterson, who is the president-elect of Rotary Club of Edina. Registration is $25 and can be done through your own club or district website. Plus, there's plenty of free parking. Again, that's Wednesday, September 27th from 6 until 8 p.m. at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. Come early at 5:30 and help greet our guests. So wine, dine, and mingle with visiting international, state, and local dignitaries on September 27th as we push for Minnesota to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org. Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving. And the song you're hearing now was performed by Rotary Club of Dar es Salaam, Oyster Bay.
Hey, welcome back to Searching for Service. I'm Joe Kirk. And just as a reminder, you can find us on any of your podcasting platforms by searching for Service.
There you go. And you can rate them too, right?
That's right. We like comments and likes and 5 gold stars.
I tried to give mine from last time. I tried to give it 3, but you could only rate the podcast itself. Not each individual episode, so I couldn't downgrade my my episode.
That's fine. I'd have came and hit you with a tack hammer anyway. And then, do we still have Shafi on? No, doesn't sound like we have Shafi.
Okay, all right. Well, what do you want to talk about instead, Joe?
Well, let's talk about the trip. I mean, the whole idea of having you back on is to talk about this amazing trip. It's great to have some insight from Shafi here early on, and then. So let's give us a little update on that. So it's Uganda and Kenya, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was the original plan for the trip was to go back to Uganda. I had been there in 2019, and to go back for World Refugee Day, which is June 20th, partly because they have big celebrations for World Refugee Day, including a couple of the people in the Nakavali Rotaract Club have created and put on a soccer tournament for peace for 13 to 15 to 16-year-olds. And the final match is on World Refugee Day. And in the 2 years they've done that, I've helped raise the funds for it. So I wanted to be there for that. But also to check on, different projects that our club and a couple global grants that we've sponsored with the help of, I think between the 2 global grants, there's something like 55 or 60 Rotary clubs from not only around Minnesota and the 2 districts, but around the United States and a lot of districts supporting it too. There's a lot to go see in Nakavali. And so that was the main part of the trip. And then our club also did a project with Global Water First, which is the social benefit corporation version of H2 Open Doors, which I know you've had a couple other guests that have talked about the involvement in water filtration systems and water enterprises down in Guatemala.
Yep.
We provided the financial support for a water filtration or a water enterprise in Kenya. And so it was one of those things that I kind of went, well, as long as we're in Africa, might as well go to Kenya as well. So we got to we went for about a day and a half is all, but I figure it's like from here to Denver. So let's just hop on a plane and go over. And so we went into the Masai Mara and got to see where that water filtration project is done, and it's providing clean water, and they're just getting their licensure from the Kenyan government to be able to sell the water as well, which not only will provide safe water for the first time for people in this community, but also create additional sources of revenue that they can use to provide more social infrastructure for everybody that lives there. And what I didn't know going into it that I learned while there is the Maasai people in Kenya. The Maasai tribe used to be the very strong and powerful tribe in Kenya. And over time, as Nairobi has gotten bigger and the just the overall sway of the big city, the Maasai people have started to become a little bit marginalized, and it's become even more marginalized with they've gone through severe drought over the last number of years as weather patterns and climate has changed, and so their cows are dying and their crops aren't growing because they're farmers. And so what's happening a lot is they have a lot of people either from Nairobi or from the big business world that are coming in and lowballing them offers on buying their land. And because it's something, they take that. So they're giving up their essentially ancestral land and having to then move, and they move to Nairobi or whatever, where they're more assimilated into today's Kenyan society and culture. And so it was very striking. It was Shafi and myself from our club, but then we also had a lady, Elizabeth, and her daughter from Canada that went with us. And hearing this story, I kind of said, well, this is very similar to Native Americans here in the United States. And she piped in and said, I was thinking the same thing about the First Nation people in Canada, where it's that marginalization of the culture. And so really I looked at Amos, who was the leader of that group there, the organization that Global Water First partnered with. And I said, so this is more than just providing clean water and additional income. This is cultural preservation. And he said, exactly. And that to me was really meaningful, that part of the trip. And then certainly being in Nakavali with people that I met there 4 years ago and interacted with, and seeing how they're doing and seeing some of the things they're doing, being there for the soccer tournament, which was just one of the coolest experiences I've ever been a part of, and watching Shafi interact. It was all so cool.
And you said that the soccer tournament was like teenagers.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And the final match, so they had a girls' game. Actually, I think they started with like an adult version just as an exhibition, and then they had a girls' championship match, and then the guys' championship match. And I was talking to some other people and wandered off to buy something for my daughter, and came back, and I didn't know what the score was. And all of a sudden, as the game ended, and there's a few thousand people at this match, and they all start like from one end of the soccer pitch, which is just a dirt area. I mean, 20 minutes before the match started, there's trucks driving across it. They start walking across the pitch. I'm like, wow, they wasted no time in just turning this back into the parking lot. What I didn't realize was the score was tied. And so they were moving out to midfield to watch the penalty shootout. And then it got to like round 7 of the penalty shootout as well. So that was really cool. And at one point, Shafi and I looked at each other, and I said, I want to get closer to take videos here. And I said, I think I can do that, since, we basically raised the money for this. And so we were out not too far from behind the kickers. And I have some really cool video of just showing the whole thing and those last couple of attempts, and one guy kind of peacocking his way into being cute about things, and then shanks it totally wide, and then the next guy and the crowd just jeering him. I mean, as we would,
yep.
I mean, it was anywhere. And I mean, me being a big sports fan, it was very much this is the language of sport, regardless of where you are. And then when the next kid made the winning shot, and his team and their supporters kind of mobbed them, and one of his teammates, as they walked by, he was in tears. I mean, he was crying for joy at that point. So it was really cool to see this community of people come together. And Nakavali is, there's about 150,000 people from 13 different countries, so they all live in their own neighborhoods a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so seeing that national pride from, and I don't remember where that group was from, but seeing that was really exciting. And watching Shafi, who's a former soccer player, was like trying to find the number 10, the guy that scores all the goals on each team, and talking to them and giving them little pep talks beforehand. That was fun too. Hey, he's back.
Yeah, no, Kyle, man, that tournament was so amazing, and the kids, it brought joy to them, and it was like something that's not routinely that doesn't happen, and having those kids come and actually play the sport that I love, it was like a beautiful place, you know. And we have a motto at the Prior Lake Club, doing good, serious fun. I had the best time seeing those kids play, the best time. So
you'd mentioned since you'd been back there 4 years ago, what was the largest difference that you saw from, like, did the project have a significant impact, or was it more like you were coming back to old friends, or?
I don't think there was a lot of difference. That's the unfortunate part.
Yeah.
Is that.
Well, and thanks for being honest about it.
It stays the same to a certain degree. I mean, there's people coming and going. I mean, it's a somewhat transient population because they're refugees that had to flee their homes, but they have nowhere else to go. So they consider themselves visitors that have been there for a generation or two.
Yeah.
When I went 4 years ago, we went with Alight, which used to be called American Refugee Committee. That's who I was with at that time. So they showed me a lot of what they were doing. And this time it was more, essentially I put the trip together and led the group of Shafi and Elizabeth and her daughter and we worked with the the refugees in camp, which was really cool because – like, we would let Elizabeth and her daughter go with our driver to a relationship they had to go to that guy's house for a couple hours. And Shafi and I would just walk around with the Rotaractors throughout camp. And it was that was really cool because we got to see more of what it was really like, and certainly not any just centralized area, but
you got a little bit more of the real experience.
Yeah, and got to go into, houses and sneaking through, this little path from point A to B and seeing some of that stuff. And a couple times I looked at Shafi and went, this is like the Disney version of this, meaning that it looked like it wasn't real. It's like, this is, if Disney put this in a movie to amplify how bad it was, that's what it would look like.
Huh.
And saw that a couple different times. It was just like, wow. And but it was good having Shafi, who knew some of the language there.
Sure. I can imagine.
that certainly helped me.
Yeah, no, there's a large population of Somali community there, which I'm from Somalia. Having that large community there for generations as well. When they did flee from Somalia in the early 90s, and they've been there, this is a couple of generations in, it did help. Like, hey, Kyle, I'll be right back. And I would go on my own and just talk to the kids, talk to the parents, and see what more can we do and, try to get more projects and more things done over there.
Yeah.
So.
Hold your thought there, Shafi.
Yeah,
Joe's antsy for a break. I talked too long.
Oh. Okay.
And just as a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Joe Kirk. We'll be right back.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Exciting news for Minnesota Rotarians. A Rotary International site review team is visiting the Twin Cities for 3 days. That's because we're under consideration to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention. So let's unite and showcase the spirit of Minnesota and our Rotary enthusiasm on Wednesday, September 27th at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. It's got the best views of Minneapolis bridges and the skyline. There will be hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and live music from one of our own, St. Paul Peterson, who is the president-elect of Rotary Club of Edina. Registration is $25 and can be done through your own club or district website. Plus, there's plenty of free parking. Again, that's Wednesday, September 27th from 6 until 8 p.m. at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. Come early at 5:30 and help greet our guests. So wine, dine, and mingle with visiting international, state, and local dignitaries on September 27th as we push for Minnesota to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org. Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving. And the song you're hearing now was performed by Rotary Club of Dar es Salaam, Oyster Bay.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Searching for Service. I'm Joe Kirk, and as a reminder, we are brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960, and you can find us, Mr. Haugen, where?
Sorry, I wasn't ready for that one.
Oh, that was your tryout. You failed. You can also find us on wherever you listen to your podcast by searching for service.
Yeah, and also on the Rotary5950.org website or the Rotary 5950 Facebook page too. And I think there's some stuff on 5960 there too. So that's where I thought you were going with that.
And Searching for Service just actually put up a YouTube page, so you can find us on there as well. So we were just talking about the project, and Shafi, you had mentioned how nice it was to be able to, speak with some of the locals, and how there's a pretty large Somalian contingent within the city. Can you expand a little bit more about maybe a time or two that you had an interaction with some folks that you were able to get excited about?
So Kyle had to handle some emails or some things that he had to work on. So I was like, hey, I have to go to the mosque real quick so I could do prayer. So I went. There's a large mosque there within my community. So I went in there. Some of the guys, I had a Coke bottle that I was drinking on my trip because it was either water or Coke. Me and Kyle we would go back and forth. Shop for a lot of water. So I had a Coke bottle, and the kids were like, "Can we have them?" please. And I'm like, it's open. I already used it, but if you want, go ahead, So it was just a lot of heart, I felt like I was welcome. They were like, can we take you around the shops, introduce you to some of the leaders there? I think it would be great for them to see somebody that is from their community be part of the Rotary Club. So it was kind of shocking to them. They're like, we've never seen someone like you. So
yeah, that was the first day we were there, and I was a little jealous. And the things I was taking care of was my bags. When we got there, my bags did not get to Uganda. And so they came in the next day when we had already left the Kampala area, or Entebbe, where the airport is. We had already driven the 6 hours south down towards Nakavali. So when my bags got there, and then I had a total of 11 laptops in the bags as part of one of the global grants, and one of those bags made it through and was on its way to Mbarara, which is a city near Nakavali. The other one, they held it up because it's like, well, why are these 6 computers in this suitcase? And so there was a Rotarian in the South Kampala Club that was acting as my representative to go get them out of, customs jail, basically. And I had to put a letter together basically authorizing him to be my contact. But yeah, they said, Shafi goes, oh, they're just going to take me over to the mosque. And he comes back and he goes, and we saw this, and we saw this, and we saw this, and we saw this, and we saw this. And I'm going, I wanted to see all that stuff. But I think one of the other days, there's 3 main neighborhoods in Nakavali. There's the base camp area, which was the original part, and then Juru, which has been built up. And now a lot of the newer refugees that are coming are in a place called Rubundo. And it's, like, none of these places have any resources.
Right.
This has no resources. There's not electricity there. There's not anything there. They took us over to see that area because one of the global grants we're doing, part of the project is putting a 100,000 liter cistern on top of the hill to hold water. But I think it was really cool there. And Shafi, you'll probably want to talk a little bit more about this. There was an area in Rubundo up on the hill away from kind of the main neighborhood where several Somali refugees were. And so they took Shafi up there. And I think that was very impactful to you. And I'll let you go from there, Shafi.
So when we did get to this other base camp, it was just really eye-opening because they had, obviously me and Kyle went down there for water filters and different projects that we could see that we're going to continue the work. They were telling me how the water kind of holes or whatever that we use for the water, it would get turned off every 2 days or 3 days. So they would have to save it in these big water bottle jugs to hold on the water for 2 days, or the water might not come back. So some of the resources were absolutely not there. And just having to speak with some of the moms, and some of them are single moms living on a place where there's literally absolutely no resource. It's kind of hard to where they kind of go into things that our normal society would not accept to make ends meet, and that kind of got me in my feelings for a little while. Almost 2 days, I didn't feel good about it, but it was really eye-opening. And what more can we do, as a community to help them?
Well, and a common thread too amongst a lot of the people that we interview that do international projects is the international project that they go on inspires something else in them. So if you were to go back, what would you want to do to further serve that community?
I think the first thing I would do is our water project filter system. There, they absolutely don't have water, and this was
outside the scope of the project. So this was
Okay. So one of the main things that for me, I think a community can thrive and build off of is from water. Mm-hmm. And I think with a community without water, it just struggles to grow. So water would be my first thing. And we thought about try to figure out a way to put a community garden so they can garden some food and not, because they didn't have a reliable transportation, and they were kind of a couple of hours away from the main refugee settlement. So it was just like the drive. Some of them you would see them biking, putting their, the bananas or whatever fruit they can find on top of their head and walk for miles, So for me, the biggest thing was try to figure out a way we could do a community garden and like a way of resource of water. A community is built on water. So that was one of the biggest takes for me. So.
And that's to build on that a little bit. So the two global grants we're doing in Naka Valley, the first one, which is pretty well done, one of the schools that we've been working with, their Best Future School in Naka Valley, it was some upgrades to the school. And so that one's about done, so we were able to see all of that. The second one is a water project, but it's running piping to Best Future School so they can have water, and then installing a small water filtration system, actually not one of the Global Water First or H2 Open Doors systems, just because it didn't need that much there. So we went with a less expensive version from Australia, as well as this water tank. The next idea that we have, and this is what Shafi and I spent a lot of time looking at, and Shafi spent a great deal of time and thought on this there, and is working with another member of our club now on this, it is that idea of community gardening. Because, I mean, as you can imagine, when a government of a country goes ahead and gives land to United Nations High Commission for Refugees for a refugee settlement, they don't give them the best land.
Right.
And so as a result, they're kind of beholden to the World Food Program for their food. Well, as refugees, the amount of refugees keeps going up, and, different food issues in the world keep happening and costs keep going up and everything like that, the World Food Program is having to cut their rations that they give. And so our thought is, how can we help teach them sustainable gardening techniques to not only provide healthy food, but more food. And that's one of the challenges right now. So rather than going right to a Rotary grant part of things, we're doing a pilot project there. And that's what Shafi and another guy, Rick, from our club are working on to see if it works. And it's one of the challenges is, as I mentioned before, a lot of the people in Naka Valley see it as their temporary home, ... that they've been in for 20 years, so that planting a seed is to a certain degree setting up roots.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do that. And that's not my thought. That's a couple of our club members. I want to give them credit. Lane and Michelle, you guys said that first, if you're listening. But it was a very interesting thing there on how to get past that.
What a fascinating mindset around, the refugee camp being kind of this temporary thing where some people have been there for 20 years. And it's like, how do you change that mindset of, just because this is temporary doesn't mean that it can't be sustainable. Mm-hmm. And from the conversation within this interview, it sounds like that they spend so much time gathering food in a day, and it takes so many hours to do that. And you think about if you can break that off and go, gosh, they got 2, 3, 4 more hours a day, just how much more productive that is. I mean, I'm always blown away by when we're talking about some of these basic essentials and where all the time is.
Yeah. Yeah. Shafi, you want to touch on that for 50 seconds or so?
Yeah. For me, that is the most important, and try to figure out if this pilot, a lot of programs, I think they get deep when the pilot project goes into place. And I think once they can see that it works, I think more people will join. So
and then you get somebody that's good at raising money and
yeah,
that helps too.
Just to give that hope, I think that hope, just to see that, hey, can we try it for a season and see what they can learn, and can they learn that skills to carry on for life? I just feel like it's a big thing of don't give them the fish, teach them how to fish.
I love it. I love it.
So that's just big for me. So.
Well, we're going to rock out of this segment, but just as a reminder, you're listening to Searching for Service, and I'm Joe Kirk, and we'll see you in the last segment.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Exciting news for Minnesota Rotarians. A Rotary International site review team is visiting the Twin Cities for 3 days. That's because we're under consideration to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention. So let's unite and showcase the spirit of Minnesota and our Rotary enthusiasm on Wednesday, September 27th at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. It's got the best views of Minneapolis bridges and the skyline. There will be hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and live music from one of our own, St. Paul Peterson, who is the president-elect of Rotary Club of Edina. Registration is $25 and can be done through your own club or district website. Plus, there's plenty of free parking. Again, that's Wednesday, September 27th from 6 until 8 p.m. at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. Come early at 5:30 and help greet our guests. So wine, dine, and mingle with visiting international, state, and local dignitaries on September 27th as we push for Minnesota to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org. Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving. And the song you're hearing now was performed by Rotary Club of Dar es Salaam, Oyster Bay.
Hey, welcome back to Searching for Service. I'm Joe Kirk, and just as a reminder, we are brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. Kyle, it has been a fun ride again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good to be back.
Yeah. And we figure that we'll kind of wrap up this last segment is, let's kind of tie up the trip to Uganda and Kenya. And you've got a good little story on
Yeah, getting in. Well, I mentioned my luggage part of things, but that was the second hassle that day. Shafi, how did getting into Uganda work for you?
So after I got back to the States, about 2 months later, I got my visa accepted to be in Uganda.
Once he was back here.
Once I got back, a month and a half, 2 months back, I got my visa approved to be in Uganda. But I was like, I've been there 2 months ago, but thank you guys so much for accepting me to be in the country. So
they went back and forth and round beforehand. And so he just said, well, I'm just going to show up and do it at the door. And they didn't like that and pulled him into the side room for a while and then pulled me into the side room at one point. And first off, because, I mean, Shafi, I don't think you might be saying this. It was because they have some issues with the Somali government or whatever. So they were a little worried about, okay, why is this Somali guy trying to come into Uganda? And one of the ladies, when I went back there, she actually apologized. She said, sorry, I know we're racially profiling, but we have to do it. We have to do it. I said, I don't think I can criticize that. I mean, I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. And I can't criticize. I'm from the United States. We're the worst. and she laughed. But then a few minutes later, I said, look, this guy's a good guy. You know, I'm vouching for Shafi. And they go, well, how do you know you're not just saying that? I mean, he could be a spy for the CIA and you could be his handler. And I just started laughing. I said, oh, my God.
I'm not that cool.
That's exactly what I said. I said, oh, my God, I wish I was that cool. And he said, nope, I'm just here to do some water projects and stuff. So
the name's Kyle Bond.
So the rest of the trip, we just kind of joked about how, you know, Shafi was the international super spy and I was his handler. And yeah, so when we finally said, I said, he's already has his visa to get into Kenya, like in 5 days.
Right.
Oh, he does? Yeah, go ask him for it. And that's when they got through it. You know, other than when they were asking you for what was the top bid? $500 to let you in?
$500. So it started at $30 and it moved to $200 to then it was a $500 bid.
Who says money can't buy you happiness?
my thing was everybody wanted to help me and so helpful, but it was going to cost me $500 where the visas was $50. And my thing was
sounds like a bad deal to me.
Kyle is a cool guy. I'm a cool guy, but we're here to do community service.
Yep.
Can you please let's work together to figure out? And then, it was just at the end. It was just like, hey, we have an issue with Somalia. I'm like, I'm Somali American. Yeah. You see my passport.
Yeah.
I am from the United States of America. Please let me in.
So it was, and this is happening. You know, we have this other lady, Elizabeth, and her 10-year-old traveling with us. We've been on a flight for a day trying to get them okay. Looking, you know, I know Shafi's back in the back room getting whatever waterboarded or whatever's going on back there. And I'm looking, you know, I'm standing at baggage claim going,
my bag's not here.
Where's my luggage? And so, you know, go in there, and while I'm in there, they're telling me, oh, it's still in Amsterdam. And Shafi goes, hey, they want to talk to you now. So it was
you guys were popular.
This is about midnight, you know.
Yeah, look at it this way. Next time you guys go, you guys will be able to just meet some old friends and be able to be like, hey.
I do have my the new visa. It doesn't expire for a whole year, and I didn't use it yet. So maybe.
There you go.
Well, there you go. There you go. You can tell your wife, honey, I have to go back. Yeah. I have this visa now.
And I'm not going through that crap again.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Shafi, I wanted to make sure that we did just spend a few minutes on, you're doing some pretty cool stuff within the Prior Lake School District too, in terms of bringing in, you know, and we're going to just kind of change some gears because, you know, you're bringing in culturally appropriate food into the schools. Talk to us a little bit about that, how that started and, you know, where it's going.
Shafi, I wasn't going to let you get on a podcast and not talk about that. This is so cool.
Yeah. So as a refugee, as growing up in a small town, Mankato, you know, one of the things that as an adult I promised myself is to make a change, whether, I find good people within districts that are willing to listen. So we have this thing going on called Try Tuesdays and World Wednesdays in the Prior Lake schools. And I really got behind that initiative because as a student at early, childhood, I did not eat food at school because it was pork or it just didn't fit my palate. It was just all sort of things, So I was really scared. I ate pork one day. After that, I never ate school lunch for a long time, unless it was the Uncrustable peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Yeah.
Which are amazing, After it was like Michelle Obama that kind of took that away. But for me, once I got into, working with the Rotary and working with different people in the community, I really saw this opportunity to change school lunches in a better way. It hasn't changed since I was a high school or a middle school. So for me, it was, can we bring the, World Wednesday to different school districts? And Prior Lake was the first.
What kind of food are you bringing in?
It's literally African food, Latino food, any sort of food that the kids might be interested in, So for me, the first one we have done was Somali rice and sambusas, right? And I have the video to show you. The line, it never got that long at the high school or the middle school. And I took pictures of the kids' plates just to see if they would eat or not. The food ran out.
No way.
The food ran out in the first lunches, correct.
All those school district folks out there. I think we all need to get together and figure this out.
Now, Shafi, go ahead.
And I work with, a really amazing, restaurant. It's has 4 locations. It's called Afro Deli. They just won the Small Business Award of the Year and in the nation. It's located here of the city of Minnesota. Like they're located in St. Paul, Minneapolis. They're at the U of M campus, so they service everyone. They're in the airports, so at some point, someone did have the food, and they were like, "Oh, it's amazing," but they didn't really connect it. How can they serve these students at where they're at? So for me, and they're also in the state fair. So if you do go to state fair, they are in the state fair this year. So it's pretty
cool.
huge.
Love it.
And Shafi, what other school districts are you working with now? I know it's at least Prior Lake and Faribault.
So Prior Lake, Faribault. Right now, we're working on a pilot in St. Cloud, Mankato. I'm trying to get in touch with Northfield. So it's pretty huge. I just got the VP of Blue Cross Blue Shield diversity equity to get behind it. I've talked to Lieutenant. I talked to the governor. I talked to a few mayors. A lot of people are on board to do this pilot program. So,
well, how can people listening to this show help you?
Is just to get the World Wednesday out there for the kids to experience it. They don't have to travel around the world to get food, to try food from other countries, but it can come to their schools. So.
Well, cool. I really appreciate you working on that. And it sounds like it's been a really nice success. And then you mentioned the local business angle at it too. So it's kind of supporting a local business as well. So it seems to have a lot of different tentacles that really help the community and, create some diversity, not only in our food, but in our culture. And, so thank you so much for championing that. And man, diving in 2 feet into the deep end.
He's in.
Well, we got about 2 minutes left, you guys. I mean, what do we want to talk about? Like, where do we see this world, this food program going, Shafi? Where do we see it going?
So we have few meetings that are coming up with different directors, different executives. There's a good group called, I think they do a good nonprofit work. It's called Good in the Hood. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to get an introduction with the executive director. He's doing a really amazing job at different universities. And just to getting more students involved and, having the universities kind of like channel through the community and just helping them out and setting up like food banks and different things. So for me, it was just tackling different executive directors, try to get everybody at the table and say, hey, the work is really happening. but can we do more, for the younger students? So,
man, that's so great. Kyle, any parting last words to wrap up a great show, by the way?
Yeah, I just think it's been really fun. I'll be in Rotary 20 years this fall, and I've seen a lot, done a lot, but now to be able to see somebody like Shafi coming in with all the ideas, all the energy, and just in real time watching these light bulbs go on over his head and being able to see what he's experiencing and knowing that there's hopefully other younger, newer Rotarians out there listening to the same thing. Enough so that we didn't even get to talk about how he was like the bouncer in the pit at the music fest. Maybe next time on that one.
Next time. Well, and just as a reminder, everybody, you've been listening to Searching for Service. I'm Joe Kirk, and this is your reminder to stop searching and start serving.
I knew that one.